Okay, so today's a bit of a vulnerable post for me. I often like to talk about spirit and energy, and being a natural born medium, I love talking to the spirit world. But what I don't often talk about is the energy when somebody passes. Now, my mum died 3 months ago, Christmas Eve, and of course we're coming up to Easter, so there's all of the sentimental things that are coming up. And yeah, I'm using the tools in the toolkit to be able to acknowledge the grief. You know, I found myself the other day in a boutique shop seeing all of the Easter things and bursting into tears, and that poor shop assistant was just like, oh, okay, an Easter without her. So I wanted to share with you my experience of the energy when somebody actually passes over, because there's so much more involved than just somebody being here 1 minute and going into the spirit world the next. I remember when I first went into the doors of palliative care and thinking, oh my gosh, what kind of heavy, dense energy is going to be here because of so many deaths in this one space. But in fact, the nurses' energy and the prayers and the people who were living and visiting had ensured that the energy was so bright and beautiful and actually quite a safe space. The funny story that comes to mind is that my mum loved going to the market. Week after week we would go to the markets growing up, and in fact growing up mum had given me $5 as an 8-year-old and said, come back with anything but lollies. Of course I came back with my Sally cat, a little kitten, for $5. But the truth be told, over those years, that marketplace is now where they built palliative care. Can you believe it? Like, my mum's favourite place to be is where she passed. It was like, how does that happen? But anyway, so going back into those doors within palliative care, and it was real. And in fact, it was just such a sense of calm, yet panic all at once. It was the most bizarre feeling being there. And I knew that my mum was quite anxious about dying. It was something that she did not want to talk about or acknowledge. And finally, I don't know, second or third last night, spending, you know, those moments late at night when it's just the world stops and it's you and the person and the conversation. It was finally that moment between me and mum where I said, Mum, I'm not dying. I'm okay to go to the spirit world. Let's do it now. Let's go and talk to Nana in the spirit world. Let's connect in. And she followed with me on that hypnotic journey to the gates and, you know, breathing in the aroma of her garden and everything, you know, seeing her cats and her mum in the spirit world. And this sense of ease that came over her, that it wasn't this dark, scary thing that had been built up in her mind. Did you love it how our human minds do that to us? But she had stepped into that space and had a look and got familiar, saw Pop there and all of her aunties, and we had a wow of a conversation. And that's where that mediumship of mine came through, and it was like, it's fine, Mum, we'll be able to talk when you're over there. So fast forward to the next morning, and the nurse staff had said, like, wow, what have you done, Claire? We, you know, her anxiety's down. Like, wow. I was like, yeah, we were just talking to the spirit world. But it was quite amazing after that, once she had that sense of relief, that she started to allow the hypnosis. I'm a hypnotherapist, a master hypnotherapist. And finally, she let that energy start to let go of some of the pain. And again, the nursing staff going, oh, your mum's normally quite agitated. We haven't seen this side of her before. So that was a really beautiful gift, to be able to actually get to that space where she was willing and ready to receive that. You know, and she started to hallucinate and, oh, look at the puppy dog, and there were cats on her bed and all sorts of different things. And I just treasured those moments to actually be able to connect in to the reality that she was now in. It was like, yep, I can see the dog too, Mum. Nobody else can, but I get it. And again, that brought in, I know I say healing at the end, but it brought some reassurance. Now, I obviously hang out with a lot of beautiful psychic people, and you know, it's a bit naughty, but it was like, when is she going to go? When is that happening? And there's a rule within the spirit world. They won't give you the specific date. There's no point asking when is somebody going to pass over. There's like a universal rule. They just don't tell you. But if you're tricky with the question that you ask, you can get information like, when will I be free from this entanglement of palliative care? And of course, my friends, my psychic friends, all kept getting the number 23. And of course, when we got up to the 23rd of December, I was, that day is a blur. I was like, oh my God, is it happening today? Is it happening today? And of course, that's why they don't give us the information like that. But, you know, she did not pass on the 23rd, but what she did do, the hospital staff recognised that she needed a private room and they took her into bed 23. So those psychic gifts of my friends were like, okay, this is it. And it was like, because they had astrally projected and had a look at the possible outcome, it was like they were in the room with me, even though it had been days, weeks before when they had checked in on the energy. I had felt that sense of support in that space. But of course, being in that space, it was now time to help Mum, and we clear away the energy that where she is going to leave. You know, think about your energy centers, your crown, your third eye, your heart space, all so on and so forth. Some of that energy just needs to become a little bit slippery, so that, you know, you think about coming into this world through the birth canal. Well, it's much the same going back to the spirit world. So all of that work had been done energetically. I'd felt my guides, I'd felt her guides, I knew Nana and Pop, and all the team were there holding the space. And yet there was still this glitch. Hard to describe. There was still this glitch, like, why isn't it not ready for her to go? Everything's set up, everything's... And then I went, right, we're in palliative care, where previously I had helped people cross over, my Nana and other loved ones, and done all of, my mother-in-law, done all of the energy work, and they were ready to go. It was all set up. We were in palliative care, and there was a glitch in the system where Mum had been picking up on the imprinted energy. So when somebody passes over, they leave like this spiral of, I call it a death vortex. I don't know if that's the correct semantics, but they leave a death vortex. So there's this spinning energy, almost like the Mother Earth giving you that that rocket ship kind of projection to be able to leave, but you leave a bit of an imprint. And what I recognized there in room 23 was that there had been so many deaths and not many energy healers clearing the space for their loved ones. And it was like, okay, team, we need to slow that energy down, clear and transmute, shift it. It's none of Mum's business. It shouldn't be in her energy field. Done a whole lot of energy work there to clear it. And then, I don't know, within, it had been cleared, and then within an hour or two, Mum's health just suddenly went down, the motley skin, and I knew that it was going to come. It was like, okay, this is it, holding the space. And the sense of calmness that came over me, it was like my team had just like, whoa. It's the best word I could put to it. But fast forward, it was time for Mum to go. 11:35 on Christmas Eve, and the Christmas carols had finished on the telly. And yeah, I held her hand, and I think that's actually some of the grief that's still sitting there. I expected her hand to still be warm, but it wasn't. I had witnessed her leave the body before the body actually stopped. So she left. There was this big celebration. There were plenty of people there in the spirit world ready to receive. And yet the body had still gone into that reptilian sort of automatic mode where she was still gasping for air, and her body was cold, and then there was peace, profound peace. It was like, okay, she's gone. So if you're somebody who has experienced watching a loved one pass over, it is not easy. It leaves you kind of raw and vulnerable. And I still look out for the birds and the songs and the dragonflies because I know that she's around. And truth be told, I mean, she's mischievous, absolutely mischievous, just like she was in real life. Real life. In the human body. She has been able to come to all of my daughters and her sisters on the same night. They're all dreaming about her on the same nights. And there's all of these weird and wonderful synchronicities that she's still around. And no doubt because she just loved Easter and the magic that came with that with her granddaughters of making the garden look like Alice in Wonderland. Like you could just, it's just Easter bunnies and foil and everything. Like there'll be a party in the spirit world wherever she is to bring the magic to her family and yeah, the spirit world. It's quite remarkable, isn't it? Just how we come into this world and leave and all the human emotions that come with it. So yeah, I mean, is it right to say Happy Easter, everybody? But Happy Easter. Hold on to your loved ones a little bit tighter. I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.